I am your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. There is every day in Nigeria something new crops up, but the trending issue for now is the issue of Dr. Chris Okafor and Doris Ogala, an actress. Chris Okafor is a pastor of a church in Lagos. There are some questions I want to ask Doris Ogala. I've handled the one of Chris Okafor. And when a woman sheds tears and you have a case with her, the likelihood is that you will lose the case based on sympathy from people. I have 5 women surrounding me, my wife, my daughter, my 3 granddaughters. And I won't want any person to mess them up. Question number 1 for Doris Ogala. You said you met Chris Okafor in a walkway in a police institution, and his bodyguards wanted to push you away. Then he invited you into his car, and from there you subsequently met in Lagos, invited you to his church, and you went into, he rented a hotel for you and all that. The question is, were you the one that approached him? Hence, the bodyguards or bouncers wanted to push you away. If not, if Dr. Chris Okafor is coming towards you to talk with you, his bodyguards will not push you away. Could it be that you strategically positioned yourself to meet with Dr. Chris Okafor, knowing the things I'm going to ask you now? I'm not trying to say that Dr. Chris Okafor is a victim or innocent. 2 of you are mafia guys, and this one, you know, work well. That's why you are crying. So, and he invited you to his church, and you later found out that he was a pastor. If you knew he was a pastor and you still went ahead to do all the rubbish that you did with him, could it be that you don't have a conscience, or you are desperate, or you are naive, or you are loose? One other question I want to ask. Let me say something. There was an Anglican girl that a priest wanted to have a relationship with, an amorous relationship. And the girl told me that she told the priest that you are a servant of God. Be it far from me that I will be the one that will make you fall from grace. And she refused. The person most likely will watch this video. She's a lawyer. And so there are girls in the church, particularly these so-called Orthodox churches, that still revere men of God, and even Pentecostals, that they don't want to be the agency that will pull down the man of God. Question number 2. Did you ever do runs or runs girl with your ex-husband in Dubai? as alleged by your ex-husband's sister, if you did Dubai runs with your ex-husband and you stayed with him and he paid you, because I saw his pictures, a very handsome, very fine young man with money. If you did runs with him and he paid you, why did you rush back to Dubai without informing him? And why are you alleging that he was the one begging to marry you? Your ex-husband's sister said that there was a girl, your runs club, that came to Dubai to do Okpo Miliki. And she was posting the pictures of her enjoyment with your ex-husband. Then you had not married. And the girl's name was Anita. And when you saw the pictures in Dubai, that you rushed to Dubai without informing your ex-husband that you were coming. And from the voice note your ex-husband sent to Parara that the sister shared, you allegedly went to his former apartment, but he had moved from there. And you called him that you were in Dubai without informing him that you were coming. And that, according to him, that I've settled your first runs. So what are you looking for? And that you stayed with him in his new apartment, and that while he was asleep, that Anita sent a message that she was pregnant with twins, a boy and a girl, and that after reading, you deleted the message without your former husband's knowledge. Is that true? Is your husband correct? Is your sister-in-law correct? If not, what really happened? Did you and your gang of actresses and friends who do Dubai runs, according to as alleged by your sister-in-law, did you harass Anita to the extent that she flushed out the twins at 5 months? If it is true, could that be very heartless of you? The next question I want to ask you, who pushed you into the traditional marriage with your ex-husband, Kingsley Mazi Ayawu, when he came for Christmas? Did you at any time say that you didn't want to marry him, but your mother put you under pressure to marry him, as you allege that he was phoning you thousands of times in a missed calls and all that? If that is true, that your mother said it was time for you to marry and that you wanted to, that you married Kingsley Mazi Ayawu, that you intentionally went into that marriage knowing that your heart was not there, and that because the young man had money, he bought a new car, you saw the money in his account and his pockets. Would that be what lured you, according to them, to hastily plan a traditional marriage while they were waiting for him in a Hime Obowo? Could that be that you were desperate to get married, desperate to corner resources? That was what pushed you into that marriage at that time, to Kingsley Mazi Anyanwu, who wanted to marry a banker that they had known. If you hurriedly made Kingsley Mazi Anyanwu to abandon a girl to hurriedly marry you in a traditional way, why are you crying now that Chris has played you the same sicky one that you played the girl that works with a bank? Why are you crying over what you did to another person? Could it be that you are a narcissist, that it is only your primary interest that is uppermost in your mind and what you can get? Could it be that you just use people, and when you can't effectively use them, you attempt to destroy them? Why did you have to go to Umuahia with your husband in the early hours of the night of your traditional marriage in Item years, only to inform your husband when you got to Umuahia that, as alleged by your sister-in-law, alleged by your husband, that His Excellency wanted to host you? Did you inform your husband before then that His Excellency wanted to host you? Your husband left with you, abandoning all the Umunna and his friends that came to welcome the newly married couple, that you had to go to Umuahia in the early hours of the day you got married. Is that manipulative of you, or you wanted to take advantage of His Excellency hosting you without caring about the traditional consequences and shame? Your ex-husband said he went with you out of shame, and you are calling him a toxic person. Could you be the initiator of the toxicity by your inconsiderate and cantankerous and boisterous behavior? How many men would tolerate that? How many men would tolerate that? Did you eventually sneak out of the house in the early morning of did you sneak out of your matrimonial bed very early the next day with the drinks and money you got during your marriage activity, with the belts and the shoes of your former husband, and ran to Umuahia? How many men would tolerate that? Those of you who are going to come after me, how many of you would tolerate that from your daughter-in-law? How many of you would tolerate that from the wife of your son? Because I know some of you who are so-called feminists will want to come here and talk trash. Feminism is not recklessness, neither is it aggression, neither is it assertion of your will and independence, irrespective of who you hurt. Feminism is being the best of womanhood, the tenderness of womanhood, the calmness of womanhood, the responsibility of womanhood, and the love that womanhood shows. If you don't exhibit that and you exhibit aggression, independence, argumentation, and cantankerous behavior, you are a wild human being. And no man wants to tolerate that, whether you are an actress or what, or a celebrity. No man wants to tolerate that. Another question, ma'am. Where were you for 2 days? A newly married woman, your husband did not know where you were. I was listening to the man's voice note that he stretched his hand towards where you slept. He didn't feel you. He slept off because he was tired. You were tired. You came back to Obo around 3 a.m. and you sneaked out. He went to the kitchen, went to the restroom, didn't see you. And you drove away with the new car he bought. I want to ask you a question. Did you abandon the wrecked car? When I mean wrecked car, engine had knocked. So many things have been damaged. Did you abandon the car in a mechanic workshop at Umuahia only to call your husband to pick up the car? Does a normal human being behave that way? A car the man just bought as he came back from overseas. And I know it will be an expensive car. He said there were drinks in the boot of the car that he bought, expensive drinks to welcome his people, about 10 million naira worth of drinks, plus money that they gave to you because celebrities came. You left with the drinks, left with the money, wrecked the car, left it in a mechanic workshop. Even if the Pope is your husband, he will not take it lightly with you. Say he's a toxic and aggressive man. Could the toxicity come from you? Now, did your husband ever lay a curse on His Excellency because of your relationship with him? Why did he do that? Did you ever tell your mother-in-law that you don't want to get pregnant for some years, 2 years, if I remember rightly, because of your career? Who wants that? Who wants that? When he has lost a set of twins because of you, when the mother is saying that he wants to see his son's children before she departs, which career? Is it the Dubai career or your acting career? Your sister-in-law alleged that you were ready to altercate in a market square with your husband, who then is toxic. The next thing is that, did you on your husband's bed do abominable acts on your husband's bed while on phone calls with Pastor Chris Okafor? Did you ever say that? I listened to your interview with Daddy Freeze. Did you do abominable things on your husband's bed, matrimonial bed? And did your husband catch you at any time? And you didn't expect him to get angry? Which husband will tolerate such insanity, and iniquity? How come you could do such abominable acts with Pastor Chris Okafor and still sit in church while he is preaching? Don't you have a conscience? Now, why would an exposed and educated woman like you leave her marriage to a fresh young, that boy is fine young boy. He is not a divorcee. He is not he's not that anything is wrong with divorcee. Chris is a divorcee. This boy is fresh. He has never married before. He's Ororo. Would an educated, reasonable, exposed actress like you leave her matrimonial home because Chris Okafor told you to leave your marriage, that you were still in love with Chris? Are you that stupid? Why were you keeping all the records? Any evidence you knew you will use today to blackmail Chris Okafor, and you say you love him? Chris Okafor is not an innocent person. I'm not defending him. I'm only saying that he was foolish, reckless, and ungodly. I question whether he is a man of God or not, because the spirit of the prophet is under the control of the prophet. If he has a conscience at all, calling a married woman on her matrimonial bed and doing video calls, doing abominable acts. Somebody that was speaking to Parara, who was a member of his church and his team, said that some of the things that people like Chris Okafor, he alleged is still there, that what they do that even native doctors can't do them. And I was telling my wife, who was always panicky about pastors. When I say things about them, they say, you are criticizing the body of Christ. Body of Christ. One mumu saw the day we did a couples outreach in the hall of my school. Is this not a church? Not a church, it's my school hall. My school hall. That's where I give lectures and run seminars for my students. Even if I'm a pastor, my bishop called me today, Bishop B.C. Edohasim. He called me today. So where do we go from here? Most of you who are Pentecostal slaves suffering from Stockholm syndrome with your daft brains, minds have been colonized. I feel sorry for you people. Now, why were you keeping evidence to blackmail Dr. Chris Okafor? You are a mafia woman. You can't tell me anything. You are an extortionist. You can't tell me that. Let me tell you another thing that you did. How come I've listened to Prof X, the South African man that has one white stick? I don't know what is that. How come you were a willing tool in the hands of Chris Okafor? Some of his victims have said that they don't know when they fall under his spell, like a girl from Cameroon in Douala that was alleged to have had relationship with Chris. She said she didn't know Chris Okafor. She didn't know when she ended up, I don't believe them. They know. They told her to bring whether wild honey or white honey. And that Chris left with cars and abandoned, oh, is it the one in Port Harcourt? But went to Cameroon and slept with a lady. How come you were willing to seduce Prof X in order to get evidence to exonerate or influence a court case involving baby testimony? That means you know how to seduce a man. You were willing to seduce Prof X, gain his trust, get close to him, and then you shared evidence that led to the dismissal of the case. You said you got the DSS involved, the police involved, Interpol. So you are such a smooth operator, such a smart street girl. And if Chris Okafor knows that you were able to seduce Prof X, get information from him that made the case to be dismissed involving baby testimony, a child, an innocent child, that got missing in the premises of a church. You acted as an agent to deprive the mother of justice, because it's only the evidence you present in court that rulings will be based on. I'm not accusing any person. I'm just stating what Prof. X said, and you said. With a grieving mother, do you really have the moral right to cry and shed crocodile tears? Doris, Ogala, in one of your recent posts, you said you were never really ready to marry Chris Okafor, but that you were seeking revenge. Does that not contradict your earlier crocodile tears? Now who go marry me now? Who will you leave me for? When you have damaged my life, when you shown my nakedness. Are you also in possession of the naked pictures of Dr. Chris Okafor? So, what are you seeking now when you said you were not really ready to marry him? Does that not contradict your earlier reason for crying? And do you think with all you have done, Chris Okafor is a smart street man, smart operator, he reached the cup. Do you think that he will be so naive like as you are to marry you? It can easily be said, if you answer these questions conclusively, that you are an unreliable, desperate, vengeful, seducing, and toxic personality. Could it be rightly said that you are reaping the seeds you sowed, and unless you change, that you will eventually end up very badly? All these ones you are seeing now, they are making the chances of your being married to a reasonable person extremely